Hello everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, the mic's broken, so I'm just having to use the one on my laptop, so the sound quality will probably be off tonight, but it's just like an informal stream anyway. It was my birthday the previous day. Well, it's like midnight here, so I don't know. It probably still is in your time zone, my birthday, the 2nd of July. But yeah, and just for the sake of people who are watching this on playback, I just, there's a few points I wanted to make. What was it? Yeah. Yeah, well, just telling you what I'm doing at the moment because I've got loads of reading to do, so it's going to be a while before I do another big presentation. But I've covered drug burn theory, which is what I think the main motive probably was. But there's also the CIA theories about this case, about the Manson case, and so I'm going to start to cover those. I'm going to start by covering Mae Brussell, who started talking about CIA involvement or military intelligence involvement right back in 1971. And she did a radio show. And she's quite straightforward. Yeah, I've got more reading to do because for the satanic cult theories, obviously you have to have read Ultimate Evil, and I've never read all of Ultimate Evil, so I'm going to have to read that first. And there's this book that I'll show you that was recommended to me because of CIA theories with it, and it doesn't really. When I've read it, I've now read it. It's more actually satanic cult, and he talks a lot about Mary Terry stuff. It's called Sinister Forces: The Manson Secret, a grimoire of American political witchcraft, and it's one of a set of 3 books. It's the last one where he talks about basically occult influences over American politics, basically. And yeah, in this last one, but it's kind of weird because he doesn't really actually give you a theory. He just talks about a wide range of subjects. I recommend it. It is very interesting if you're interested in these sorts of subjects. He doesn't really give you a theory. He just tells you a lot about satanic cults with serial killer connections. He talks about what's his name, Jeffrey Dahmer, quite a bit, and obviously the Son of Sam and Mary Terry. And but then he also goes off into like UFOs and remote viewing. All the government experiments with remote viewing, and even quantum physics. He goes into quantum consciousness, and then like after speaking about all that, he sort of expects you to form your own conclusion, kind of thing. But he doesn't really give a CIA theory. It's not like Chaos in that respect. But I definitely recommend it. Or is it a super buck moon as well? Thank you. Yeah, and this is on archive.org, this book as well. You can read it for free. And I've ordered a hard copy of it, a proper copy of it, because I found it quite good. But yeah, it's more satanic cult than CIA theory. So yeah, I'm going to start. Obviously, I'm going to read. Yeah. Yeah, he says that. He says that they the Scientologists were involved in the early stuff. Yeah, and he recommends other books. I found another book that he talks about that's on archive.org from a guy that was one of the remote viewing subjects, one of the people that did it for them right back in the 50s. I didn't realize it went back that far that they did remote viewing. I thought it was later than that, but yeah. Yeah, he is good. I like the way it's written, and he gives because though I'm obviously really skeptical about the satanic cult, but he does a better job of makes it more convincing than Mary Terry, and he notices something about phases of the moon that Mary Terry didn't notice. There was always some phase of the moon that was relevant. Like it was a new moon or a full moon when the people were killed in the Son of Sam murders, and apparently Mary Terry never picked up on that. Hi, Danny. Hello, everyone. Yeah, well, yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you to everyone who's shown up. Yeah, I scheduled this long. I didn't realise until half an hour before the stream started that I'd scheduled it for next week, hadn't I? But yeah, yeah. I just want to keep the algorithm happy. Yeah, I just want to get that out of the way for the people that are going to be watching it on playback. But yeah, that's. Oh, sorry, the cat's just nudged the table. Just to get out of the way what I'm looking at now. What I'm going to talk about. But yeah, the satanic cult stuff should be interesting. And I also want to talk about a guy called John Todd. because he's one of the earliest sources for them saying that it was a hit from Canada. And John Todd was a weird bloke. He comes out with a lot of the Illuminati and the music industry theories that you hear date back to, actually can be traced back to this guy called John Todd. And he's supposed to have known Dave Cosby from Cosby, Stills and Nash, and he obviously knew Mama Cass really well, didn't he? So it is possible he got information from them. But yeah, so he's worth talking about as well. So I might talk about him if we're going to talk about satanic cult stuff, because a lot of the stuff is actually traceable back to this guy called John Todd. And people like Mary Terry are probably just ripping off his stuff, basically, you know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Oh, bloody hell. Sorry, the cat keeps rubbing his head against the table, which is making it fall over. I did a couple more shorts today. People noticed that. More Mama Cass ones. And there'll be a few more from that stream as well. I did it from the, her life and her health and drug use and all that stream. One's talking about when they did LSD and her knowing Timothy Leary and that. And it was actually my birthday yesterday here, because it's gone midnight. But yeah. So yeah, I thought I'd go live and just update people on what my plans are. And yeah, so I've got to read Arm Evil. I also want to contact other people. Some other people that talk about Mary Terry. Yeah, because I'm not even sure. Because there's the guy Manny Grossman who does all the Son of Sam stuff. I'm not sure if he has read this Peter Lavender book, because he talks a lot about Mary Terry's take on the Son of Sam murders and there being a satanic cult. But he is actually a bit more. He makes it sound a bit more plausible. I still don't believe. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's on archive.org. And can you get the PDF of it? Can you download it off there? Yeah, I think you can of all books, can't you? Or some of them you can't download it, but others you can. But, I just ordered a copy of it because I liked it so much. I found a copy that was for sale in the UK. I didn't have to order it from America. And I want to read the rest of the series now, because even if it's not about Charles Manson, I just enjoy the subjects he talks about. And the way he writes is good, and he makes it sound more plausible. And he's someone that's actually sympathetic to the occult. He did it himself when he was younger and all that, you know. And he's a historian. He's like a historian, but he's like a historian of the occult sort of thing. And yeah, he is good. He's a good writer, and he makes it sound more plausible. And he doesn't write like Mary Terry writes like a Christian would write about it, you know, sort of thing. But even though he apparently wasn't really a evangelical Christian, that wasn't what drove him. Probably just selling books, wasn't it? It was the fact he got so much attention for that, you know, saying such crazy stuff. And it also was fed into the satanic panic at the time, didn't it? And all that. Yeah. But we can get the PDF of archive.org, apparently. Plain saying it does let you download it. Yeah, that's it. Well, he initially believed him, didn't he? But then found that a lot of it he actually says inaccurate stuff as well, and totally he just didn't really care. And what's he called? Oh God, I've forgotten the actual what was he called? The actual killer. But he probably lied to him as well, because he wrote to him in prison. I don't know if he visited him in prison and what, but he told him there was a satanic cult. Basically, but people think that he probably just lied to the author because he liked the attention or whatever. You know, he just enjoyed it, and he was trying to abdicate his own responsibility, obviously. Ouch. The cat's sticking his claws in my leg now. Yeah, hi everyone. There's quite a few people here actually, considering I scheduled it wrong, so people have just seen the notification, hopefully. Yeah, make sure you've got notifications turned on as well if you're a subscriber, because there's a lot of people who haven't. That's it, Berkowitz. Is it David Berkowitz, the Son of Sam guy, the killer? He interviewed Mary Terry interviewed him, and he did say that there was more people involved. And in this in that book, Sinister Forces, that I was just showing you, I'll put it back on the screen. He talks about him. Right, how do I go back to it? Go like that. There we go. Hold on. In this book, he goes more into him. Yeah. He goes into all that, and it's sort of how that's linked to. So it's more this book more than CIA. It's satanic cult sort of thing. But the two overlap. The two things overlap because like it's implied that the government are actually running a satanic cult or whatever. That sort of thing. Yeah, but like I say, it's free to read on archive.org, and it's not that expensive to buy for a book of this type. Some of them it's ridiculously rare or whatever. I was able to find it in the UK. I saw a few copies of it on eBay in America. And like I say, it's kind of you might be pissed off if you're expecting it to talk just about Charles Manson because it hardly really sort of mentions him. And like I say, he doesn't give you just the forward alone as well. That's written by the oh god, one of the Yippies, Paul Krasner. Yeah, writes the forward, and that's like really quite shocking. Talks about the shocking stuff like the porn and what was in the porn and all that sort of thing. That's just in the first few pages, but that's like the most Manson-y it really gets. He does mention Manson, obviously, but he doesn't really give you a theory, and so it's kind of misleading to imply it's a book all about Charles Manson when really he's just making it. Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting stuff though. The quantum consciousness stuff, I hadn't realised that. Because basically now they're saying because the current theory of consciousness, human consciousness, is like from Newtonian physics, is that like we see the world, our brains process the world, and that's how we create consciousness. It's all external. But quantum consciousness is now proposing that there's actually some mechanism of the brain that creates our own consciousness. So it is coming from within us, not just our brains observing what's around us. It's really hard to explain. I'm not a quantum physicist, but yeah, you can look it up, and it's in this book. So he talks about it in this book, and there's a book written by the guy that is putting this theory forward. But yeah, it's a bloody interesting book, and it goes into all sorts of places. You think, what's this got to do with it? But I can see why he tells you all this, because he's showing that if they were experimenting with all this, and if this is possible, then is it so impossible that Charles Manson was part of some government experiment or whatever? Yeah. Like I say, he doesn't convince me, but he makes a more plausible case for there having been some kind of satanic cult involvement in Son of Sam, at least to me. And he mentions the two Charles Mansons. He seems to believe that there was another Charles Manson, but that's been debunked a lot, hasn't it? Yeah. I think his role in the army is like kind of exaggerated, though. He had a desk job. He wasn't really military intelligence as such, or what he did wasn't, like secret agency stuff. And there was no reason he would have been involved in MK Ultra and that's bullshit. And he was just a PSYOP consultant, which is like a fucking 2-week training course they do. It's not anything massive. It doesn't mean what people think it means, I don't think. People are looking in the wrong place with Michael Aquino. People like him are a red herring, Forget about Michael Aquino. Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't as high up as conspiracy theorists believe, and people have read too much into what the PSYOP stuff he did was. He just wrote papers and did research. He didn't. It was all on paper. He didn't really do anything, and he wasn't a psychiatrist or anything like that. Why would he have been involved with MK Ultra, brainwashing people? He wasn't. He had no qualification to do it. Yeah, so we're just looking at the chat now. Like I say, this is just a casual one, and I said all that at the beginning so that people watching on playback aren't bored. But yeah, thank you for showing up, everyone. Like I say, I just did this to keep the algorithm happy and catch up with everyone and let you know that I'm not going. Oh yes, and I haven't addressed the Poolcast thing, have I? I haven't said anything publicly about that. But yeah, I was shocked Poolcast have quit. But I think Paul will be back. I don't believe that he's not going to come back. But it is good to take a break from it because, like I say, I kind of am. I'm not saying I've quit. You know, I did for about an hour, didn't I? But yeah, I came back pretty quick. But no, don't let him win. Bloody hell, that's just what Brian Davis does, isn't it? It's just Brian Davis being Brian Davis. Don't take it so personal. The lawyer probably regretted doing Brian Davis's show later as well. People probably told him about Brian Davis, so he just decided not. Has he done any other podcasts as well? I bet he's now not doing any podcasts because he don't want to affect Leslie's chances or whatever. But yeah, don't take it so personal and don't let him win. And that's just what Brian Davis does, isn't it? Let it go. But yeah, take a break from it because it is harder every week to find new things to talk about and have something to say every week. So, you know, just take a break from it for a little while. Yeah. Well, this guy, like I say, this is like I was expecting CIA because Nicholas Shrek recommended this book to me. I said to him, "Is there anyone else that you can think of that wrote about the CIA theory?" Because I'm looking into the CIA theory, and he recommended this book, and I read it, but it's more satanic cult than CIA. But he does talk about the remote viewing things and all the, you know, psychic driving experiments and all the MK Ultra experiments and that. But he doesn't really try and link. He doesn't give any. Like I was expecting him to finally, you know, come out with a thing about this, finding out he was in the LSD experiment in the prison because there is some Scientology thing that he found. Scientologists have found documentation that said Charles Manson is supposed to have been in some kind of LSD therapy program and have freaked out and have been thrown into the block, the solitary for a few months because they freaked him out on LSD. But I find that difficult to believe, to be quite honest, because I think Charles Manson would have talked about it if that had happened. I don't think he'd have kept it secret. So I doubt that happened. But he doesn't come out of any of that. That was my point. You know, I was just making out. I thought that he would in the end try and give a theory, but he doesn't really. He just lets you cause your, make your own conclusion, sort of thing. But yeah, it's definitely worth reading if you're into the mind control experiment stuff and all the, he talks about UFOs, he talks about different serial killers and satanic cults, but it's more satanic cult than CIA. Though the two theories overlap, like I keep saying. Off the screen like this. Yeah, he talks about the JFK assassination and JFK in this book, even, and Marilyn Monroe and Bobby Kennedy's assassination. All of this, he does actually talk about it. He doesn't mention that though. Fake JFK on the day. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that he's found that was good. Yeah, like I say, it's another book that's huge, like the Manson File. There's a lot of information. You have to read it more than once. But it's divided up into chapters, so I'll just go back over the chapters again. But there's a few good points he makes. What was it? Stuff about Marilyn Monroe that other people haven't made because she suddenly had loads of bloody communist people all around her. And so that might be another reason that they assassinated her as well. And like no one else has ever made that link, apparently, he says in this book anyway. And so yeah, it's interesting, it talks about all these American conspiracy theories basically. And like I said, it's it's the third in a set of 3 books, so I want to read all of them now. But you don't have to have read the others to read this one, sort of thing. Yeah, so. So the Kennedy family don't think it was Saran Saran because he gets mentioned obviously in here. Well, this is the thing. Like he never told Nicholas Shrek about that, and he spoke quite openly about all his drug use. Apparently, he did psilocybin when he was down in Mexico, but he didn't take LSD until he was back up in like the Haight Ashbury bit. I don't think. It was what he's told Nicholas Schreck. And I can't believe that if he was given LSD in prison, he wouldn't have talked about that as well. Because it's one of the crazy things that he would say in it. You know, like when he says he met Sharon Tate at Elvis's house and stuff like that. It's a thing that, though it's actually probably weirdly true, sounds so crazy it wouldn't be true. You can imagine him saying it in an interview. Oh yeah, the prison doctor gave me LSD and then they threw me in the holes. I think no one would believe him. You know, it would be the kind of thing he would talk about. Yeah. Yeah, well, he was apparently in a cell with a Scientologist or something, wasn't he? And they found the what's it meters at the Spahn Ranch, didn't they? The E meters or whatever the hell they called it, the thing that Scientologists use to check your vibrations or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, it does. It goes way back. When they first started messing about with the LSD, they bought all the Sandoz LSD back in the 1950s and stuff like that. Yeah, Brainwash is a really good book for that, for reading about all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it is. That is a big problem with it. It is quite hard to read because these are. But if he had done the print any bigger, imagine how big it would be. It'd be huge, wouldn't it? It'd be like a really thick. But yeah, he is planning to do an audiobook. He said he's going to sit and record it, but that is going to take him months alone, isn't it? If you think about it, it's going to take a long time. But he is going to eventually do an audiobook, I think. Yeah, but again, the Manson File is another book you can't just read once. It's like a textbook or a reference book. You've got to keep going back to. These are such, there's so much information in all these books. But yeah, this is another book that's, in fact, it strikes me that the art in it as well, he does collages for each chapter. And it strikes me that it kind of looks like the Manson File, but collage art, you can't copyright that, can you? And the collages don't look actually similar to the ones of the Manson File. They just are, but they are collages. It just looks similar to the Manson File. Mm-hmm. Oh, what? So there was other gunmen in the room. And Sirhan was not close enough, basically, is what you're saying there. I'll read out what you've said in case we lose listening. All Sirhan's shots are accounted for, and none hit RFK. And another guy had a gun out right behind Kennedy, and Kennedy was shot from close quarters, and Sirhan never got within 5 feet. So Sirhan wasn't close enough to have shot him that close. Yeah. That's not his fault, though. That's the bloody COVID and packing the firm, the bloody courier company, and that he chose, or his publisher chose for him. They're using a new firm now, aren't they? I think. What is this? Who actually shot Bobby Kennedy? You mean? Yeah, but the audiobook, that'll probably just get, he'll put it on Audible or whatever, won't he? Or hopefully just put it online. It'll be a long video for YouTube though, because imagine how many hours long it's going to be as well. There really is a ton of information in there. Like I say, I read quite fast, and it took me a month to read it. And you still can't take it all in one read. Like it's well indexed, so it's quite easy to find what you want to find in it. But also he's written it in a way so he doesn't the stuff about the crimes is scattered between the chapters, so you can't just skip to the bit that's about the crimes. You have to read the whole thing. Yeah. You got it within 2 weeks. I went and picked mine up, you see, when he came to London to launch it. But yeah, there's people still waiting for it. I haven't got it in there and all that. It's terrible. Because the release of it got delayed, and then they didn't do the actual UK edition, so only a few got printed, so that's rare. So I bought one of those as well. And so no one checked the other guy's gun even. That's crazy. Yeah, thanks for all the birthday wishes, everyone. I'm seeing it all. Yeah, I'm not that drunk. I did have a drink earlier, and we had an Indian takeaway around my friend's house for my birthday. Yeah. See, not a lot of people in my audience really talk about the satanic cult theories a lot. Are you guys interested really in the satanic cult stuff? So yeah, I like to see because I get people in my comments sometimes who talk about it because there are a lot of people who are convinced that Sharon Tate was some kind of satanic sacrifice, aren't there? And they won't have it that she wasn't at all, no matter what you say. But like I say, what he says in this book kind of makes it sound a bit more plausible that it was some kind of satanic cult. Without going into too much detail. Yeah, someone suggested I read out the foreword on my channel, but it's so heavy, I don't know if it might be too strong for YouTube, sort of thing. But I think if you set it to adults only or not for kids or whatever, then it should be all right. People can just click off it, can't they? I haven't looked at pictures of him. What? Bobby's body, there was a clip-on tie, yeah. It fell off someone at some point in a struggle, didn't it? Yeah. Oh, that's weird, yeah. Well, a lot of people are on YouTube. I'm showing their comments on YouTube. So, yeah. If you've got the YouTube app on your phone, try watching it on there. There's more of a chat on there. But I know on your phone, it's a pain in the ass to chat on a phone, I think, on YouTube. So I don't know, you might be better off on Facebook if you're on a phone. All right. Oh, sorry. Right, so he grabbed a guy behind him. He grabbed a tie of the guy who had the gun, trying to show, yeah, that it was him. I suppose, yeah. Oh, we've got 17 viewers. That's good considering that I scheduled it completely wrong, so no one saw it. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, for people that missed the beginning, just been talking about this book. There's a book that I've read because I want to start talking about the CIA theories. So he asked Nicholas Shrek for some book recommendations for the CIA ones, and he recommended this one. And yeah, like I say, it gives more about the satanic cult theory, but that overlaps with the CIA theory. So I'm going to start talking about that. I'm going to read Ultimate Evil. And I want to contact Manny Graceman and find out if he's read this because he'd be interested in what this has to say as well. Because, like I say, it makes it sound slightly more plausible that there was some kind of satanic cult than Mary Terry did. Oh, were you on Facebook? No, you're on YouTube, yeah. Might be slightly better. Yes, and I don't know how long it's going to be before I'm experimenting with making more. Oh, cat's finally gone. Thank God. With more long form videos, because you can use Canva as an editing thing, and I can take my presentations from Canva and just add more slides to them, and then record audio to that and make that as a video. So I might try doing that. And I don't know whether to start a new channel or to upload those to this channel as well. But that might get confusing. But yeah, it's another way because a lot of people I think click off because they don't like live streams. They don't like watching replay of live streams. And my camera quality isn't that great and my lighting isn't that great. And there's people who have high standards nowadays, don't they? They really do just click off. The retention rate on my videos is terrible. More less than half of the people that click on it actually stay and watch more than about the first minute, the first few seconds. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's totally debunked it all, isn't he? That's what he's doing on his channel. That's what his whole channel is pretty much dedicated to at the moment, isn't it? But he might, because I just went to his channel and typed in the guy's name, Peter Lavender or whatever his name is, to see if he would to see if he had mentioned it, but he doesn't appear to have. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he says about that. Because, like I say, I don't believe the satanic cult theory, basically, but it's worth covering, and because a lot of people do. There are a lot of people who are absolutely convinced that it was some kind of satanic sacrifice. Son of Sam, it is a bit more plausible that there was at least more people involved, whether they were a cult or not. And Peter Lavender, I haven't read Ultimate Evil yet, but I think he says that he found something about the what do you call it, the moon phases that Mary Terry doesn't mention. But there was always a new moon or a full moon, a significant moon phase whenever those murders happened as well. And that can be you can verify that because there's calendars. You can be worked out, can't it? You can go back and work out what the moon phase was. Yeah, well, this is the other thing that's implied about it, isn't it? And Jay Sebring with these black robes. But then other people say he just play acted. He wasn't actually into the occult, and they weren't actually doing the occult stuff. But you hear all kinds of stuff about Hollywood, don't you? That they have their own bloody sacred texts and their own religion. So it's not even exactly Satanism, but they're worshipping something. It is dark and satanic or whatever. But yeah. Yeah, because I don't know if it's from, because I found an account of the Billy Doyle incident, and it sounds like Mary Terry, but it was on a website somewhere on the Wayback Machine. I think I found it from Manson blog. It was linked from Manson blog on the Wayback Machine, but it sounds like it's written by Mary Terry, so I bet it's taken from Ultimate Evil. An account of the Billy Doyle incident. But he names celebrities. He says Jane Fonda was there, and they all put on black robes before they did it. Before, when he realised he was drugged and he could no longer do anything, they all suddenly put on black robes and did it like a ritual sort of thing. And I've never read it described like that in the other sources. It was just, they drugged him and did it, and it was something that Jay Sebring and Frykowski had a penchant for doing, was drugging men and filming them. Yeah, well, I was kind of disappointed. Not disappointed because the book was really interesting. It was worth reading, but yeah, he doesn't really give you a theory, and it's kind of misleading to imply the whole book's going to be about Manson when it was about a lot of other things. And like I say, it's more satanic cult than CIA. Really, it's definitely worth reading if you're interested in all that stuff. Oh, sorry, just looking at the chat. Waiting for stuff to talk about. The Mae Brussell stuff should be quite easy to do, so that'll probably be the next thing I do. Will be a stream about Mae Brussell, because there's basically, I think, just one show. I don't know if she never wrote a book or out like that, did she? I've got to look into her a bit more, because there is an archive for her and that, so there's going to be websites about her and that. So I'll look into it. So I like her. I think she's off about a few things, but this was like literally just after it happened. She had no sources, did she? And I'd like to know what she said later. If she ever did any more shows about the Charles Manson case and that. Yeah. Yeah, Betty White was a Hollywood Satanist. I've never heard she was a Satanist, but they say Meryl Streep is supposed to be the bloody high priestess or whatever, isn't she, or whatever. They call her the Grand Dame of Hollywood, but that's actually supposed to be some kind of fucking cult title. And Roman Polanski is supposed to be like the high priest, but he's not allowed back into America, is he? He can't come back into America. But that would make sense as to why they all still stand up and applaud him and that, wouldn't it? Even, when it looks bad for them. If he is some kind of high-ranking occult figure to them in their religion. Yeah. Well, like I say, that she's the one that everyone says is some kind of leader of the dark religion sort of thing. Like I say, when I was a kid and I used to watch her, they're all presented to you as like nice people, aren't they? But it's not until you find out about, like, Jack Nicholson. I used to love Jack Nicholson, even though he always came across as dark. I thought of him as like an underdog person who'd made good. But actually, when you find out about everything he was involved in, it's like, bloody hell. Was there anything he wasn't involved in in any Hollywood scandal? You know what I mean? He's there somewhere. Yeah, that's it. In fact, it's a common misconception about Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley wasn't a Satanist, though he did black magic, and he wasn't. He wasn't good either. He wasn't a Satanist. And also, not all Satanists are bad as well. That's the shocking thing. Like, not all the thing people don't get. It's just whether you're left-hand path or right-hand path or middle path or whatever. Yeah, he has no birth certificate, does he? And he found out from the newspapers that his mother was really his sister, didn't he? And shit like that. He had a crazy life, Jack Nicholson. Yeah. Yeah, he did. He was good in Easy Rider, wasn't it? It was really a different part for him. The accent that he did. I've never seen him do that accent in any other film. Hmm. You've only just said that. Well, I've never heard how he treated women. I know he's been associated with a lot of women, anyway, but I didn't know he was abusive. But I'm not surprised to hear it. Yeah, he's obviously a very dark bloke, isn't he? And cocaine addicted for a long time, I think, too. That makes you fucking weird and moody. And probably a method actor as well, because they all were, and he played so many dark roles. He must be a very fucking weird bloke to be around a lot of the time. Have you seen the first thing he said when he heard Heath Ledger had died as well? That's weird. There's a video of him reacting. He's outside a club and someone tells him of Heath Ledger's death. And he goes, "Oh my God," he looks really, really upset. And he goes, "Oh my God, I'd warned him. Which sounds really fucking strange, doesn't it? But it's actually referring to him playing the Joker. He was saying that the part can consume you, sort of thing. And so that's probably what he meant was, "Oh no, I warned him to be careful playing the Joker, that it consumes your life," sort of thing. But other, conspiracy theorists will say, "Oh, they were going to assassinate him," and Jack Nicholson knew about it. Yeah, Moloch. Which is a child sacrificey one, isn't it? That's the scary thing as well. And there's a lot of weird rumours about Ellen DeGeneres as well. Have you heard all the shit about her? And yeah, her and Oprah had a tag on their ankles during the COVID thing, and no one mentioned it. No one said anything about it, but you saw they had bracelets on their ankles, tags for some reason, and no one mentioned about it. No one said anything about it. Yeah, but there's a lot of weird rumours about these Hollywood cults. This is what Ultimate Evil and that sort of thing is all about. But he doesn't give names for his sources. It's just impossible to prove any of it, isn't it? And it just sounds unlikely. But he drops things that are intriguing and would be helpful. Like he says a lot of weird stuff about Abigail Folger that would be interesting if true. But can we believe anything he says? Yeah. Yeah, Sam was probably there just last week. Yeah, because they're not allowed mobile phones in there, are they? So if he was at Bohemian Grove, he wouldn't be able to visit the stream. Yeah. Well, she looks very weird, doesn't she? Yeah. They're all weird people. Sorry, Sam. Not convenient right now. Ow, go on. Go away. Sits on my backpack. There you go. It's alright, isn't it? Uh-huh. Molech. It's actually Molech, isn't it? Yeah. Molech. Molech, it's the owl, isn't it? It looks like an owl. Big owl, and they bloody set it on fire at Bohemian Grove in the footage. You see the owl, isn't it? Oh, no, it's talking, isn't it? The owl is talking. And then do they set it on fire? I can't remember, but yeah, that's Molech, isn't it? Molech is the one that's like an owl. And there's big buildings in American cities that look like they're actually owl shapes if you look at them from certain angles and shit like that. So yeah, there's a conspiracy theory that they worship Molech in it. But that cremation of care thing actually is like taken sort of out of context. If you analyze the text, it does sound really cold and disturbing. But I think to them it is just a joke. You know what I mean? It's like a laugh, and they're just trying to forget about their responsibilities because they're all like really, really heavily involved. They're like political leaders and army people and shit like that, aren't they? So, but I think to them it really is just a joke, and it isn't actually meaning anything. doesn't mean that there is a fucking cult. That's not a hard evidence that they worship Molech, the cremation of care ritual thing. Yeah. Yeah, and all the weird screaming and moaning and all that is just fucking strange, isn't it? And no, that's it. It's they burn a body in it. It's but it's actually a bundle of sticks, and someone screams as they burn, don't they? Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about Jack Nicholson. He was raised by his grandparents and not told that his sister was really his mother. And he found out from the newspapers, apparently. No one told him. A journalist found out before he did. Yeah. Yeah, but it's I find it hard to believe that there's just one single cult, if there is any satanic cult controlling the world. Oh, and the Finders as well. That's another thing he talks about. That's a fucking disturbing one. The Finders, because the police actually arrested them. So there's actually evidence up to a point, but then as soon as they arrested them, basically the CIA came in and said, "We're dealing with this internally." And that's a weird thing. They found the people with those children all dishevelled and starved and with no underwear and weird stuff like that. And they found that they had a school in Mexico that they were flying kids to, and they had like the primitive version of the internet, where the computers could send messages to each other, and they were trying to get kids from all over the world. Really creepy. And then as soon as they found them, basically the CIA came in and said, "We're handling this." Yeah, Finders cult, and that's something that can actually be. But the newspapers just stopped talking about it as soon as it happened, and it's really weird. One of Folger's great uncles. I remember her father probably went to it, didn't he? Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if she went to it. At least once or twice. Because it wasn't only political figures, was it? Well, not only political figures. It's like artists and other significant people in it, like actors and all that sort of shit. That's a good point, actually. I think so. I think yes. I think they are. There are women there, aren't there? Though when you see it depicted, graphically, it's just men in it there. But I think women are allowed. Yeah, it's generous to go to, but in it a place where they're not allowed to take phones and they're not allowed to film. It's one of those weird places like Epstein. Well, no, women are allowed. I thought women did go to Bohemian Grove. I thought they could go. Or if they allowed it more recently, maybe. Yeah, when it would, but yeah, whenever I've seen it depicted, it is always just men. But that footage, the only footage that you've seen, the stuff that Alex Jones got, it's in the dark, isn't it? So you can't really make out who's there. But you can see the fucking owl burning and the it's talking, and you can hear the weird screaming as something burning and all this sort of shit. It's really weird. Yeah, he does. Yeah. Gay was it all about gay? I think it was about gayness essentially, was it? But they was allowed to dress as women and that, weren't they? At a time when it was really, really quite. It would have been considered a really bad perversion at the time, sort of thing. Yeah, I've heard that, but I don't think it was all just about being gay, was it? It was just a literally bohemian. I mean, yeah, it sounds like Bohemians. It was supposed to be a place, yeah, for them to go and blow off steam, wasn't it? Yeah, politically incorrect satanic cult. Yeah. Well, they're all pretty politically incorrect, aren't they? Yeah, he makes loads of good points about the occult, though, and he's obviously and he talks about when Peter Lavender went to the same bookshops that Son of Sam went to, David Berkowitz went to, and all that sort of stuff. He makes some really good points. It's definitely worth reading, even though you might be disappointed about the actual Charles Manson content of it. I think but it's it is more about just politics as a whole. Yeah. Yeah, and you think this will work as fuck, definitely. God, so my neck gets cramped up now. I'm getting older. Yeah. And it is really, really bizarre. There's a lot of weird stuff put into like Disney stuff as well. Like, have you seen all this? This is they took down a lot of the stuff that was put up about all this years ago. They don't like people talking about it. But the programming in Disney, there was a guy called Freeman Fly. He called himself. I don't know what his real surname was, but Freeman is actually a man's name in America, isn't it? So yeah, that's actually his real name, Freeman. And his channel was called the Freeman Perspective. But his channels got taken down over COVID because everyone that spoke negatively about COVID basically got taken down, didn't they? But he did a lot of stuff about how they brainwash people with the media, and Disney is very weird. A lot of the stuff, and the music industry is fucking full of it, and that's really quite disturbing because that music's aimed at young girls usually. Like what they call the tweens. Like so before they're even teenagers. And yeah, Lady Gaga's videos are full of satanic imagery and all that sort of stuff. Like, it is weird how they do appear to be grooming kids to be Satanists. Yeah, well, things like Disney, they're starting to lose their power now, though, aren't they? And they're getting roasted for doing all this woke content and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, because Walt Disney was a weird bloke. If you read about Walt Disney, and it is weird how people's mothers always die in Disney films and stuff like that. People are always orphans, aren't they? And there's always a wicked stepmother. No one ever has a good relationship with their step parent. Their step parent's always evil, and their mother always dies. So often, sometimes in front of them and shit like that. You know what I mean? Or in The Lion King, it's the father dies, isn't it? But yeah, and that's the old Disney films, isn't it? And now the newer stuff. Because, like I say, I don't have kids, so I don't watch any Disney stuff. I've no need to. But it's all that what's it animation? It's different type of animation altogether now, isn't it? What do you call it? Not CGI animation, but digitally done, not drawn like they used to be. The last time I was young enough to watch Disney was The Little Mermaid, and even then I was starting to grow out of it then, sort of thing. I remember when they released Return to Oz. That was a fucked up film to show to children, wasn't it? Really, from the director of The Godfather as well. What the hell was that about? Yeah, Bambi's mum had it coming. Yeah, yeah. Sam never got. Yeah, is that what messed you up, Sam? Is that why you became a CIA agent? You never got over Bambi's mum. Yeah. It was weird, but at least about wholesome content. It wasn't though, really, was it? And Pinocchio is a fucking strange film as well. You know what I mean? If you analyse some of the stuff that happens in these films, it's weird as hell. Hmm. But yeah, there's people that are obsessed with looking for subliminal stuff in Disney stuff and all that as well, isn't there? And but the studies show that subliminal imaging didn't actually work. It doesn't work as well as conspiracy theorists like to think it does as well. Even if they had put subliminal stuff in, it wouldn't necessarily work. Yeah. What was it? Someone on the grassy knoll. Bambi's mum was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah. Yeah, that was the last one they did that was animated, the old way, wasn't it? But that was done with computers. You could tell it was done with computers by then. It wasn't just done with hand drawn frames anymore. It's probably the Little Mermaid. By the time they did the Little Mermaid, they were using computers as well. Yeah, yeah. Pinocchio is so bizarre, and yeah, just all the trauma he goes through, and when he lies, fucking the punishment is extreme, isn't it? His body changing and all that, and getting eaten by a whale. And the kids turning into donkeys is quite horrific, isn't it? For a kid to watch. It is fucking strange, yeah, and encourage them to drink. And yeah, they're abducted, basically, aren't they? Oh, yeah. Just saying you weren't here when I spoke, were you? I was saying don't let Brian Davis. Don't take him too personally. That's just what Brian Davis does, isn't it? And the guy, the attorney, probably cancelled. He probably regretted doing Brian Davis's podcast as well, and he probably doesn't do any podcast now because he don't want to affect Leslie's chances. That's probably more what it's about than Brian Davis actually pulling any strings. Yeah, and that's just him being himself, isn't it? Brian Davis. Let him go. Let him say what he wants. Just have a break for a while. It's hard to come up with new stuff to say every week, isn't it? You know, have a break. You'll come back when you find something new to say. We got to talk about the back trails as well because I'm finding new stuff about that, or people are suggesting new stuff and all that. That'll be interesting. Yeah, Frank made a good point that new other houses have been built as well as the new Cielo Drive house, so that might have obscured the back trails or where they would come out or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't just Brian Davis, yeah. Yeah, well, it is ridiculous, isn't it? The harassment that you get as well. Definitely, yeah. They go for you, don't they? They come for you. And Danny. So I'm not that big, really, compared to the others. Am I? Compared to you and to your Stoner and Brian Davis are the three big ones, aren't they? I'm just a small fish, I think, so they don't really come after me that bad. That Mike thing was personal, really, you know, between me and him, because, yeah. We were previously friends. It's sad. I hope that we talk again soon, because, yeah, that is sad, because we were friends for a long time, and he did help with the start of the channel. This helps a lot with research. But so have a lot of other people as well, you know what I mean? And he shouldn't have used his bloody moderator powers to harass people in my chat and that, because that's not my whole ethos, was to let people talk. And even if they're wrong or they're saying things that are wrong, you know, there's a nice way to talk to people, isn't there? You don't have to. And he was just bawling people out in the chat and that. That's not what I wanted. And he didn't like it when I told him he had to stop, basically. Yeah, that's it. It's better to stay small anyway. The right people will see it. And like I say, I hope people would just take what I found and make their own videos about it, because I'm just showing stuff that I found on the fucking internet, basically, you know. Because a lot of documents are on the internet now, and you don't need to actually write off a document like you used to in that. So yeah, I've been reading this as well. I started reading it because after I finished that. This is the other book about Leslie. I showed this on the last stream, I think. I don't think there's going to be anything remarkable in it, because he's just, obviously totally believing the Helter Skelter shit and that she was brainwashed or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, see you later, Paul. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah. Yeah, he's out of retirement. Yeah, but the back trail thing, so I want to address that, because, because that's kind of a spanner in the works, isn't it? If there were never any back trails, but people are saying that there were back trails, but where were they? Because looking at pictures of the house, because I've found loads of pictures of the house now from before Sharon Tate lived there and all that, you know, but just pictures of the house. And right behind the house, there's just a cliff face, isn't there? So there couldn't be anything behind the house, because people are saying behind the house is the entrance to the back trails. But there's just a fucking cliff face there, so where was that entrance? If anything, it must be something that went into like the woods or something, wasn't it? Wasn't there? There's trees or whatever. Yeah. So we've been made a point that there's been other things built as well besides the new house. Maybe the entrance to them has, you know, gone or whatever. Or they've been built over. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So like, where could they go? That's the thing that is the problem, isn't it? They must run somehow down with the drive, mustn't they? That's the only way they could go. So who knows, it's some way. parallel to the drive. But the drive doesn't look like there would be room on either side of the drive, even. This is an interesting quote from Leslie Van Houten in the book about how the group was into confessing embarrassing personal details to each other, which is what communists were really into. Yeah, that's all I'm interested in, really, is to see what she says to him about it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. There had to be some kind of fire exit, didn't there? But this is the point. What we're saying is, where the fuck could they have gone? Because it's up on a cliff, isn't it? If you look at the house, there's a cliff face right behind it, so there's no way the trails could go down there. And then next to it, there's just a sheer cliff drop, isn't there? So like, unless it was actually built on, there is no way there could be a path, is there? And there's an aerial photo, isn't there? But I need to see a bigger aerial photo that shows the whole area. Because yeah, there is a part where there's trees, isn't there? The only place that there could possibly be any sort of other path was somewhere in those trees, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Well, lots of like so-called cults do that, don't they? Yeah, they get you to talk about your deepest secrets and then torture you with them. You know, like taunt you with them, or blackmail you with them. Yeah, there's a chum. What's she called? Noor Jasmine. She's really good. She talks a lot about different true crime cases, but she's into ones where there's cults involved. There was recently a really nasty guy, and his daughter. He moved into her university dorm, and like basically has brainwashed a bunch of women and a couple of men. And it's really like quite terrible the state he had them in, and he was filming them freaking out and all this sort of shit. You know, and it's really quite terrible. And when he's in court, he was faking seizures and all this sort of shit. I can't remember the name of this, but this is quite a recent situation. Because I look at all this when people say that the Manson family were a cult, and you look at these actual real cults where they really were a cult, and like the Manson family were not like a cult in that sense. You know what I mean? I can believe there was some folie psychosis going on with them, you know, the group psychosis or whatever, but I don't think they were as a cult in the sense that, you know, some people were cults. Yeah, I want to find more aerial photos, you know, looking right down on it from above to see where the guest house was and what was behind the guest house. Could there have been anything behind the guest house? But no, just behind the guest house, there's just a drop, isn't there? That's the thing. It's just a sheer drop. Yeah, they were more like a biker gang, weren't they? Or just a criminal gang, a gang of, you know, thieves or whatever, and prostitutes. And they did distraction robberies. You know, the girls would be there distracting people while the men went and robbed and that sort of thing. Yeah, but there's like quite a few videos of the house at Cielo Drive when it's owned by other actresses. The woman who had it built, there's a good video that shows loads of pictures of it with her in the house and around the house. Hi there. Text mates. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming. Oh, 21 people. That's good. Considering I scheduled it wrong. I actually had scheduled it for next week, hadn't I? There probably won't be a stream next week. Just done this to keep the algorithm happy. And check out the shorts I've done. I've done some new shorts. Yeah, indeed, all the videos. And yeah, for people that have just arrived, I'll say it again. I'm now looking at the CIA theory. So I'm going to do a stream about Mae Brussell. And also satanic cult theories about the Manson case overlap with CIA theory. So I'm also going to start talking about that. I'm going to read Ultimate Evil. And obviously I'm cynical about these satanic cult theories, so I don't believe it. But there's this other book, Sinister Forces here. He does a slightly more convincing job of making me think that at least in the Son of Sam case. And there is evidence there was more people involved than just David Berkowitz or whatever his name is, isn't there? At least, so maybe Son of Sam there was a satanic cult. I don't believe that the Manson family were involved with a satanic cult though. But he implies that in this, obviously, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, so just laughing at the chat because getting mocked. This one I probably went. Well, no, I'll have to edit it to cut the timer off, so you'll lose the live chat. Yeah, I've read this book, and this is like you might if when you read it, you might be a bit disappointed that there's not like more direct Charles Manson content to it, but it is definitely worth reading if you're interested in the mind control experiments and government cover-ups and political shit, political history, as well as conspiracy theories and the occult. He explains the occult very well. Honestly, because on archive.org he does do podcasts and that. I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to see if he's contactable, if I could talk to him as well, because he's a really good writer, and he's obviously been researching his whole life practically. He's like more of a historian, And like I said, I want to read the rest of the books in the series because this is the third in the series. And yeah, it's on archive.org to read for free, and you can apparently download a PDF of it as well. Someone's saying in the chat. And I've ordered a hard copy of it because I like it so much. So it's good. But yeah, it's another one of these books that's got a ton of information in it. You have to read it over and over again to get it, but it's divided into chapters, so you can read each chapter. And just the forward alone by that Paul Kastner or Paul Krasner, who was a yippie when he that's explosive enough as well. It's worth reading it just to read the forward. Yeah, if you just read the forward, there's a lot of controversial stuff about the Manson case. Right, I've been going for an hour now. I only came on, just to say, as I say, to keep the algorithm happy. And that you all know what's going on, because like I said, I've got a lot of reading to do now. I've got to read Ultimate Evil, which I was dreading, but I'm sure, it is worth reading for some stuff, at least. And and also I'll be talking about, the CIA stuff and satanic cult stuff in the future streams. And I say, if you're not in my Facebook group, join my Facebook group, because I post in there quite regularly. And I'll try and post on the community tab more so that you know what's going on. But the first thing I'll do a stream about will probably be Mae Brussell, who talked about the essentially CIA theory was what she did, wasn't it? And I don't know if she only ever did one radio show and if she ever wrote more. Like I'm going to research her more. But she's like the original source for a lot of the CIA stuff, isn't she? And there's that weird page in the FBI report. I can read that out as well. Yeah, so might as well end this now because isn't Danny doing something later as well? Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. I just, like I say, wanted to keep the algorithm happy. I'm going to upload more shorts as well. Do more shorts out of that Mama Cast stream that I've been looking at. I posted a load of ones about LSD. Hopefully that'll get some hits. And welcome if you're a new subscriber. And watch the playlist, the Charles Manson video playlist, because that's all the timeline of events. Because that sort of makes it much easier to believe it was to do with the drugs. If you look at all the crimes in isolation, it's clear that they were just a criminal gang of drug dealers, and shit went wrong for them, and shit got on top, and they needed money, and they got desperate. And that, combined with them all getting drug psychosis, is what caused these events, rather than a satanic cult, in my opinion. But yeah, it's worth talking about these things because a lot of people do believe that it was a satanic cult, a satanic murder. That Sharon Tate, at least, was a satanic murder. So yeah, I'll get into all that. But yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. Anyway. And like I say, I'll post in the group. I'll be posting in the group regularly, and it'll probably be only about 2 weeks. I think I'll do the May Brussels stream. But yeah, I've got a lot of reading to catch up on, basically. And yeah, so don't think of abandoning the channel. I'm not giving up. There's just so much to read. All the drug ban stuff I had, ready to present, and the other stuff. This stuff, I've got to read more about it. But the satanic cult stuff is interesting to discuss, but I'm not convinced that it's real. But anyway, yes, thanks for coming. Anyway, everyone, thanks for all the birthday wishes, and I'll see you soon. Anyway, probably in a couple of weeks.